right, so to kick off our second part of the PDC, we've got our region manager, Mr. Earl Kelly. Now I know he was already introduced before, and I got to work with Earl a little bit when I was doing some management training out in the Midwest, and I've gotten to work with him even more closely as I transitioned from being a district manager into working in the region. And what I love about Earl is how much he cares about people. He has an intense desire to grow and help everybody around him grow as well. And I really love how family-oriented he is, and I'm always impressed by his ability to balance both his family, his personal life, and business. So, without further ado, I want to bring up our region manager, Mr. Earl Kelly.
Later on in the conference, I already promoted this. You guys are going to hear a message from RJ and Tyler on selling big orders. And it's what I call a sexy message. I mean, it's one of the ones that, gosh, I mean, who did you sell to? And how big did you make it? And how did you close on that set? And what kind of combinations? And by the way, I want you to learn those things. Right? Because they can drastically affect your results when you have the right situation, the right opportunity. But my message is going to be a little bit different. My message is going to be closing with confidence. It's not going to be about big sets. It's going to be more about how to just do a normal demo, close properly with confidence, and then drop down successfully, which will help you in a majority of your demos, not just ones where you might have a chance to sell an ultimate set. Right? Now, for the management candidates in the room, you might be asking, well, why was I asked to stay here? I already know how to drop down. I've been working for over a year, or however. I want you to take notes on how to give a message, because I believe this is a skill that many people aren't good at, and as a result, it hurts our newer representatives, because they might know how to do the demo, but they really don't know how to close. So that's what we're going to work on today, closing with confidence. All right? Throughout the conference, you're going to be able to hear messages on, how to improve your demo, how to build value in your demo, how to do accessories, and I want you to think about this as the icing on top of all that cake. All right, now let me give you a background of why I actually chose to give this message. So in other words, when I create the agenda, I get to pick any talk that I want to give because I'm creating the agenda. So I look at people's strengths, and I look at opportunities that I can insert myself. And the reason I get excited about a message like this is because when I was a new rep, I wasn't really good at closing. In fact, I was well, that's not true. I had about a 90% closing ratio. But my average order was about $100. I sold everybody about 3 pieces. And that was, I was really good. I was selling $2 grand a week. I was very consistent, but I wasn't good at closing. And my attitude towards closing wasn't good. Like, I got all nervous. I loved doing the demo. I was fired up, enthusiastic. I had a lot of fun. And then as soon as we started getting to the end where I had to go through the prices, I could feel the butterflies in my stomach. And I wasn't excited about it. And I obviously came across in everything that I did. And so I went to a conference, my first conference. I had already sold 10 grand at this point on a $100 average order, all right? And I heard a talk just like this, on closing. And I watched this lady, her name was Gail Gilman. She was a scholarship winner. She had sold 50 grand the summer before. And I'm like, whatever this lady says, I'm going to do, because she rocks, And I took notes, and I started changing what I did. Within 2 weeks, my average order was $250. And by the end of the summer, it was over 300. And it had nothing to do with where I was selling, customers that I was seeing. It was all how I got better at closing with confidence and dropping down. So I want to do that for you. I want to teach you what I learned to help you. All right? I want to help you. Here's some of the goals of the message. Help you understand better the information that you're trying to convey at the end of the presentation. Help you understand what the customer's thinking. Give you some practical hints on how to make your closing more effective and thus build your confidence. So help you understand what you're trying to convey, the emotions, the information. Secondly, help you understand what the customer's thinking, and then give you some practical hints on how to make it more effective. So let's start with a working definition, all right, of closing. This is closing. By the way, there is a handout that you will get, all right? You hand out right now, so you don't have to write this down. This is in the handout. Closing, I'm just going to keep on going, don't page through the handout, is helping someone feel comfortable in getting something they already want. I'm going to break apart this definition and tell you why there's a lot of important key parts here. First key part is they want it. Now, if you do a demo, and at the end of your presentation, your customer says to you, I don't like it and I don't want it, you're done. Thank you, Mrs. Jones. I really appreciate the time that we had today. Let me tell you, you can really help me out. You go right into recommendations, right? If they say anything else besides, I don't like it and I don't want it, you're not done. Right? So if they say, I really like it, I just got to talk it over with my spouse, you're not done. Now, my attitude was, I was done. When I was a new rep, I said, okay, that's great, I'll call you tomorrow. You guys know how that one ends, right? Yeah. No. I had a lot of those oohs, you know. Oh, here's when you hear, oh, I love it. This is great. Call me back right after taxes. Right after taxes. And I used to call him back right after taxes. Oh, you would never guess what happened. We got a tax refund and we spent it already. You know, it's great. I'm not sure I would use it all. I'm not done. They didn't say I didn't like it. They didn't say they didn't want it. They said I'm not sure I would use it all. I can go through the examples. You guys hear them all the time. You know what I'm, The point is when I was a new rep, I got so nervous that when I heard that, I kind of stopped functioning and that was it. And as I got more confident and learned how to deal with it, I increased my average order and stopped selling everybody 1 or 2 knives. So they want it. That's key phrase. Second is helping somebody. When you help someone get Cutco, it's something that you do for them and not to them. Now, I know you believe that in general, you wouldn't even be working here. But when you help close the end of your presentation, when you have someone who likes it, and they're kind of like, gosh, I really like it, I want to talk about it with my spouse. You're not doing something to them when you convince them to get something because they're going to love it. It's not about the commission you're going to make. I know that's cool, but I promise you, whatever you make, you'll probably spend in the next month, 2 months. They're going to own Cutco forever. All right? So you have to understand that it's normal for people to feel nervous. Help you understand the customer. If they didn't say, I don't like it, and I don't want it, I'm not done. If they're like, I really like it, I just got a blank, 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 or blank, then they want it. They're just nervous about, which brings me to the next point, making the right decision, feel comfortable. So helping somebody feel comfortable in getting something they already want. They want it. You can tell by what they're saying to you. I want to help them. Why do I have to help them feel comfortable, Earl? I mean, they're grown adults. I mean, some of you are half their age. Is it my job to make them feel comfortable? Shouldn't they know whether or not they want it? No, this is so important that this is part of your job. Let me share with you why. People tend to put decisions off. Right? People tend to want to think about things. And what is it that they want to think about when it comes to Cutco? What are they nervous about? It's not just the money, because they're going to spend the money. If you leave, I promise you they will spend the money within the next couple of weeks on something. Mani-pedi, all right? Something new for their kids. All right? They're going to spend it on something. It's not really the money. They don't want to make the wrong decision. See, they don't know if something else is going to come along that could be better than they could spend the money on. So it's really a question of whether or not this is the best choice to spend my money. It's not a question of whether they're going to spend the money. So we have to help them feel comfortable. Now, as someone who's an advocate for the company, they know you're supposed to sell the product. And if you don't stand up with confidence and say, you're going to love this, I don't mean in the demo, I know you do it in the demo, but I mean at the end, when they start to get nervous, then they back away because they don't get the confidence from the person who's working for the organization. It's such an important step. I'm going to teach you how to build confidence. I'm going to teach you what you can do. But you have to understand, most of you, when you sit down with a customer, most of your customers, if they're friended by a homemaker or something like that, when they sit down with you, this is what's going through their minds. Yeah, the kid's nice, you know. You know what? I'll probably buy something. You know, I don't know. Maybe I heard the knives are good. Maybe I'll get like $100. And then within 40 minutes, they go from maybe I'll get like $100 to, man, this is really nice. And they're thinking about spending $900. Do you see why that would make someone uncomfortable? Because their initial thought wasn't that, and so you've taken them 40 minutes from there to there. That's why it's so important that we help them feel comfortable.
Now, we don't have to have them buy $900. Maybe that's not the best thing for them, and that's where we have to find out what's best for them, or find out what they're comfortable with. That will help increase your average order. So I want to develop in you the attitude that it's not just your job to present the product. Now, I know some of you already know this, and you already get this, but when I was a new rep, this is what I was struggling with. See, when I was a new rep, I sold 10 grand because I was like, I'm just going to lay it all out there, and I had a lot of enthusiasm because I didn't see it as my job to finish the presentation with confidence and help them decide to get something. I didn't want to be pushy. I was nervous. I don't want to be that pushy sales representative that people don't like. And so I just completely became a timid mouse after this really enthusiastic presentation. You know, and it sent, you know, they say half of what you communicate is nonverbal. It sent all these signals to the customer that I wasn't sure what they should get. So now let me kind of frame this in for you. When I was a new rep, I would tell you that if I would describe what defines closing a sale, 90% of whether or not you get an order is the demo, and about 10% really is closing. When I got experience, I would tell you about 60% of your order and order size is the demo, and about 40% is closing. There are customers that you will go and see that you could do the worst demo and the worst close in the world, and they would still buy stuff from you. Because maybe someone they know owns it, because they fall in love with it, because they just buy everything. But most of your customers, the size of the order will be greatly determined by the 40% that you spend on your closing. So you should expect to work hard with your customer. You should view it as your job to help them make a decision. Right? And again, I'm going to go back to when I was a new rep, and I know some of you are going to really relate with this. I worked really hard on my demo. I was really proud of my demo. Like, I was the person who would take notes on all the cool things that people said in the demo. I probably spent hours on my demo. I could probably count on one hand the number of minutes that I actually spent on closing. See, that was my attitude, was it was all about the demo. I never really worked on the close. In fact, I never even memorized it until after $10,000 in sales. The first thing they told me is you have to memorize it. And I was like, yeah. And they said it over and over and over. And I said, all right, I'm going to memorize it. And I was like, all right, wow, it makes a difference. You know? Now, I know that some of you got beat up in your first week because I teach people to beat the reps up their first week so they don't go through what I do. You know, I would have fixed my average order when I was new. I would have sold $20,000 in the same amount of time that I sold 10 because I would have a better average order. Right? So I want to teach you what you can do. I want you to take the attitude, if you leave the conference and you're like me and you've worked hard on your demo, if you work as hard on the end, on the closing, as you do on the demo, you will see drastically different results. It makes that much of a difference. Take it from experience. Right? Okay, so let's move into some practical tips. Let me give you some steps. Now, this is in the handout, by the way. All right, I mentioned this one, memorize it cold. I would assume that most of you have done this already. Now, if you haven't, this is step number one. When I say memorize it cold, I mean cold. I mean, if I woke you up in a dead sleep, you could do it. Did you like Cutco? Oh, yeah, most people do. Have you ever used price find cutlery? No, most people haven't. It's like anything else, Mr. Jones. In cutlery, most products, there's a wide range of quality and prices available. We used to use a pen example. It's like big pens. You could buy a big pen for 29 cents or a cross pen for like $29. Now, I'm sure you'd agree with me that you see how well I know it? I haven't done a demo in years. I know this like the back of my hand because I worked so hard on this when I was a representative. Here's what I was taught. Here's my tip. Do it in the mirror. See if you can do it in the mirror without losing eye contact. Because if you can deliver it to a customer without losing eye contact, and when you know it that well, then you can focus on things like reading their facial expressions. Are you smiling while you're doing it? Miss Jones, did you like Cutco? Or are you like, did you like Cutco? Yeah, why? Well, did you ever do price find cutlery? You know, I'm getting nervous, I'll tell you the price. Do it in the mirror. Right? You can make it a game at your office. You can like practice with each other. Go! You know, and you have to like start saying it. But I worked on this. This is what I mean by working on it. So memorize it cold. Get better at building up the competition. We used to use Henkel's. I know a lot of you use Wood stuff. It doesn't matter what you use. Get better at building up the competition. Let me explain to you what I mean by get better. Do a quick features and benefits of the competition before you give the prices. So as an example, I have to use Henkel's because that's what I know, all right? And Wichita is pretty much the same thing when you talk about that brand level, all right? So I would say, now Mrs. Jones, let me show you a competitor called Henkel's. Now Henkel's is a really good quality product from Germany. It's sold at places like Macy's, Nordstrom's, really good places at the mall, all right? They use, really good steel, Mrs. Jones. They use high carbon stainless steel. They have really good handles. I sound like a Henkel's salesperson, right? Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be building up how great Henkel's is. Because when you deliver their prices, you want to deliver it as if you were working at Macy's, because if they buy into that price, Cupca's a piece of cake. Now, when I was a new rep, I was like, here's Henkel's, they cost like $1,000, yeah, and they sell them at Macy's. That's it. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but honestly, that's about how much time I spent on the Henkel's. I didn't build it up at all. So I wasn't helping the customer think about the price of cutlery, I was just blowing through it. I had no idea why I did it. So I want you to understand, get good, have a quick features and benefits. Do it for the steel, the handles. I used to actually say this exact verbiage. I used to say, in fact, Mrs. Jones, if it wasn't for Cupca, I would tell you to go buy Henkel's today. Because if you sharpen them and you take care of them, they will last you a long time. The problem is most people don't take care of them. And then I would go into Cupca. So get better at building up. That will help you have a better close. Use pauses. So when you have it memorized, don't just, I know I did it for you real quickly here, okay? And by the way, I know that some of your, who have memorized, your verbiage is a little bit different than what I said. We've adjusted things over the years, but I'm just giving you exactly what's in my brain because that's what I memorized so long ago. But have it down so that you can use pauses, right? And I'll try to give you an example of where you can use a pause, all right? I think a lot of times, even when you do have it memorized, you have like a run-on problem where you're not giving the customer the opportunity to digest the information because you're trying to get through it quickly, all right? So Mrs. Jones, at twice the quality and twice the value, you probably expect twice the price. And at twice the price, what you'd be looking at, you see how slow I'm going when I'm delivering that versus when I was a new rep, twice the quality, but twice the price. Twice the price, like I was trying to say, like 100 miles an hour to get to the... So use pauses. Again, if you practice in the mirror, you'll see this. Or if you don't want to do that, practice for a fellow rep or manager and have them watch you. And they'll tell you things like, you're not smiling at all right? Which makes a difference. Here's one easy one. How you explain the set. When you explain whichever set you're closing on, whether it's a signature, a homemaker, whatever it is, you want to explain how big it is. So I'm just going to use the homemaker, because back when I was a rep, we didn't have anything bigger than a homemaker. That was it. And so that was our biggest set. That was our biggest close, right? So it was like, all right, Mr. Jones, now in the homemaker, what you get is you get that peel or the paring knife, and that's awesome for your everyday peeling needs. You also get that trimmer for your utility knife. And like I used to give like one hot use for every single one. If there was something that I know that they loved, if I was paying attention to the demo, I would say, oh, and you also get the trimmer, which is good for the tomatoes like we talked about. And you get that 60-second sandwich maker, that's my favorite. All right, you also get the petite carving, Mr. Jones, for your everyday carving needs. And I just throw out one use, and I make them see how big it is. You also get a wood block, all right, and you know, just take your time to explain how big this set is. It makes them realize how much they're getting. And you don't want them to just, you know, it's not just a set, you're getting all this stuff along with it. That builds up the value. And then give the price confidently. You deliver good news and bad news two different ways. Okay? We need to talk. Which one's that? Can we talk? Right? Mr. Jones, the price of the homemaker? You listen to the price of the homemaker? Mr. Jones, the price of the homemaker. Listen how you deliver the price. Big. Big. Right? Get excited about first call special. I used to say it like it was nothing. And by the way, for first call special, you get the free kitchen tool set and shoes for free. So you want to get it? Mr. Jones. And we have this great program called First Call Special. And what it is bonus Cupco merchandise for people who place an order the first time I sit down with them, right now. So if you got the set today, do you see how excited I am? Now, you don't have to be as goofy as I am. I'm exaggerating for effect, right? But I was goofy in my day. Oh, yes, you know. People like goofy sometimes. But the point is, you have to get excited about it, all right? right? That's a small thing that can make a big difference. Right? I'm gonna fix this cord here. Get good with payment plans. All right, I didn't even plan this one. Ready?
This is so good.
Right before, did you tell me because of my message?
I didn't know what you were talking about.
All right, tell a story. Go ahead.
So, I'm Natalie, by the way. I went field training with JPB, who isn't here. But anyway, he's really awesome, and it was really exciting. So before I went field training with JPB, I was at probably like $35,000 in sales. The number of payment plans I did was
Zero.
That's a zero.
It's a zero.
And after I went field training with JPB, I did the Jamaica push. For people who are branch candidates, there's a 9-day period. 50% of what I sold was on at least one of the payment options.
So,
Thanks.
all right. Great stuff, Natalie. Let's give Natalie a hand for using what she learned. Now, JPB, for those who don't know, he's at $950,000 in career sales. All right? And has, I believe his average order with past customers is over $500. Is fired up about payment plans. That should tell you something. You know, payment plans isn't something for somebody who isn't good at the job. It's somebody who is good at the job. And you want to get good. When I say get good at explaining that. All right? So I would even tell you to go to the point of when you quote any price, you should quote it in a payment plan. All right? Like right off the bat. In fact, I'll even go one step further. If you want to get really good, you can use it with Post-it notes. Write it down on a piece of paper for somebody so you can actually see the number. Right? Go buy a car, they do the same exact thing. So this is what it would look like on a monthly basis for you. Right? Because it helps. Some people are visual learners versus auditory learners. So you do both and it helps. All right? And the last is that you ask like you expect them to say yes. So again, this goes back to the whole practice in the mirror thing, confidence thing. So, Mr. Jones, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you this question. See the smile? Would you like to go ahead and get this beautiful set of cocktail today and turn yourself to the kitchen tool set and share for free? Ask like you expect them to say yes. Now, when I was a new rep, you watched me in the mirror, so would you like to get it? Please don't say no. I really don't want you to say no. By the way, in your handout, you'll see I gave you an example of a different close. You don't have to use it. Just some people, you know, when you start with the first one, ask your manager. There's a closing question. It's the assumptive close. It's called seeing that everything is to your liking. Would you like to go ahead and treat yourself to an investment that will last a lifetime? There's a different way that you can close on an order. All right? I've learned that for some reps, it's a little bit easier verbiage. All right. So there's some tips. Now, ask like you expect them to say yes, but realize that most of the time you're going to hear something besides yes. So would you like to get it today? And in my mind, I'm going, no, get ready. All right, I'm ready for no. Don't fool yourself and think, yes, you're going to say yes because I did everything Earl said yes. Right? No, I'm getting ready for no. Getting ready for no. All right, what are they going to say? I want to think about it. I want to talk it over. All right, I'm not sure we'll use all the tools. I can't afford it right now because of fill in the blank. Kids' tuition. Whatever, right? So this goes to the next thing, the handling question cycle. All right, now, I'm going to put the steps up here. All right, so the first thing I got from Angel Gilman was the confidence in how to do the presentation. I'm sorry, how to do the end of the presentation. And some of those little tips. And the second thing is, she basically said, here's what I did last summer. I wrote out in my own words, using this cycle, the answer to all the objections that I would get from a customer. And I carry them with me in my car. And I study them. And before demos, I read them over so that when I go in, if they say something, I know exactly how I'm going to respond. It has nothing to do with chance. I'm ready for it. And I was like, okay,
And I went home, I practiced in the mirror, and I literally wrote out, word for word, in my own words, what I would say when someone did this. And I carried it with me. And I remember one day I was in a push week, and I remember going, I had 5 demos, I was fired up. I go to the first appointment, and it was one of those, home run, and they loved everything, and homemaker, and she just had to talk it over with her spouse, and I went, okay, and I left. And I was in the car, I was like, so mad at myself. I read over my notes, and the next demo, I got the same exact objection, and I nailed it, and I got the order. And it was because I had my notes with me. In the past, I would have gone to the next demo and done the same thing all over again, right? And I realized how much a difference it makes. Now, let me tell you why you do it this way, real quick. All right, so listen. This is hard for us to do because we want to. Once someone starts saying the objection, you almost want to like interrupt them and cut them off. Let them get it out. Let them know that you're listening to them. In fact, try and pursue active listening. Like nod your head. They're going to be telling you about all the things that they are spending their money on and why they can't afford to get Cutco. Okay. Now, clarify just means you repeat back what they say in the form of a question. But I add some things like, so what you're saying is that you like Cutco. Oh, that's a great question because then they go, yeah. So what you're saying is you like Cutco and you want to get it. It's just that. And say, repeat back whatever they say. This lets them know that you've listened to them, and that helps you communicate. You will see there's almost like this invisible wall between you and the customer. And when they give you an objection, if you just say, like they say, I can't afford it right now, and you go, well, we have payment plans. It hits the wall and falls on the ground. Just imagine this wall. And when you say, so what you're saying, Mrs. Jones, is you do like Cutco, and you would get it. It's just that right now with the kids, that, you can't afford it right now. Yes, I completely agree. Understand that. In fact, most of our customers feel the same exact way. They're going, oh, great, this person's not going to try and close me. Mrs. Jones, most of our customers do. And then all of a sudden the wall's down, and they're ready to listen to new information because they know that you've listened to them. When I was a new rep and I was dropping down, what I was doing wrong is I had the answers, but I didn't deliver them in a good communication cycle. So it was like, would you like to go ahead and get it? I said, it's too much money right now. And I said, well, we have payment plans. And I would show them to them, and they go, it's still too much money. I said, well, we have other sets. And I would go, how about pieces? And that's how I told everybody, 1 or 2 knives. Okay? That's exactly what happens. So I would drop down, like, whoo! Because I didn't want to be pushing. I felt pushing. I learned this cycle. And the end of the demo changed. I had so much more fun because I felt like I was working with them, and it was fun. I was like, so what you're saying is that you do like it, and you would get it, but you just want to talk it over with your husband to make sure it's okay. They're like, yes. I said, that's great. That's an awesome idea. You know what? A lot of people feel the same way that you do. And what we recommend that they do is that we have this 15-day trial that you try it out in your home so he gets to see it and use it. And if after 15 days you're not completely in love with it, I'll pick it up. All right? But that way he can see it. So you want to go ahead and do that? And if that cycle helps you. So that cycle of, it's not just about having a solution. It's about using the steps before that. Right? You have to clarify, and you have to agree so they know that you're listening to them. Now, when you give a tip, you've got to have confidence. All right? And the last step is you have to close again. You have to ask them to make a decision based upon the new information that you have given them. All right? So if you're doing a payment plan as an example, now a lot of people, and this is what I started to do, would close directly on a payment plan. So if I'm closing on a payment plan, some experienced reps will tell you you can reintroduce it. To keep it basic, I just drop down again. All right? If I already closed on a payment plan, they said it's too much money, I would then drop to the next set. That's typically what I would do. As you get more advanced, there's different creative things that you can do, and that's not my talk. My talk is just basics, nuts and bolts of got demo, drop down, all right? But when you introduce the galley set and you give that payment plan, you have to close again and say, so is this better for you? So is this more affordable for you? And that little step, what that does, the close again part, puts them back into control of the situation, so they're in the position of saying yes or no, which makes them feel comfortable, and in the same breath, it also will let you know if you've really solved the problem or not. Sometimes they'll come out with something else, and then you have to answer that objection. And a lot of times, this is what I was taught, the way to think about it psychologically, is that for most people, when you start the demo, there's a number in the back of their head, all right? that they feel comfortable spending today with you. And if the number was on their forehead, it would be great, because we would just look at the number and we say, oh, studio set, 5 bed, got it, right? But it's not, it's in here. And so you have to go through the drop-down process to find out where it is. And the reason the payment plans are important is because that number they hear quoted that they can afford today, that they feel comfortable with, if it's quoted in a single price, you're going to sell pieces, but if it's quoted in a payment plan, you'll get a set. So it's being able to be patient as you drop down and go through the different sets, and then saying, so would you like to go and get this one? So when you close with the galley set, again, go through the cycle and say, so would you like to go ahead and get this one? Is this more affordable for you? Ask like you expect them to say yes, but expect to hear no. And if they say, oh, it's too much money, your response should be, all right, so you like Cutco, it's just that we're just not getting to the number that feels comfortable with you yet? Yes, Earl. I completely understand that. By the way, we have a lot of different sets and options. I really think that you might like one of the next two that I'm going to show you. Let me show you the next ones. All right? Show the next ones. All right? So is that more affordable for you? And you'll find out that most of the time it's in that middle range of sets for a lot of customers who feel more comfortable. All right? Now, I gave an example of, in your notes, of how I wrote it out in my own words. Right? But again, I think it should be your words, not my words. So here's an example if I can't afford all that right now. So just so I understand, you do like Cutco and you would get it, it's just that blank is a little bit too much money for you right now? Yeah, Earl, and they'll usually tell you for like 30 seconds why it's too much money. I can understand that, Mrs. Jones. That's completely normal. Most of our customers feel that way. It's a very positive sentence. By the way, for the candidates in the room, it's a great sentence to teach representatives when they're new. It's just a real easy sentence, and when customers feel like I'm just like everybody else, that's a really good thing, right? That's why some of them like our no-interest investment plans, or if you already offer the investment plans, but I'm confident that we can show you a way to get a set that has just the tools you like and that's in your price range. Let me show you the other options. You explain the next one, so does this make it more affordable for you? The talker with my spouse, I wrote that out using the same exact cycle. I want to think about it, same exact cycle, and it made all the difference in the world. So, to review, how to implement this information that I gave you. These ideas are completely worthless unless you actually do something with them. All right? If you just take these ideas and just wing it, I don't think you're going to get as much as you want. But if you want to transform how you're doing the business and make your job a lot easier, and by the way, a lot more fun, because the end gets a lot more enjoyable when you're working with the customer, right, versus feeling like you're just trying to drop down on them. Practice the close out loud. Use a mirror or somebody else in your office. Have the attitude that you should work as hard at closing as you did on the demo, and write out your answers in your own words. And practice them. Have them on a piece of paper. Bring them with you, right, that you can look over them, especially when you have many demos in a day. And I'm confident that if you work on these tips, you will see an increase in your closing ratio, an increase in your confidence level, and you'll have a lot more fun in your presentations. All right? Thanks, everyone, for your time.